You know what it's time for. You know what these are by now. I'm playing hardcore solo self-found, and I'm still trying to find that Griffons. And let me tell you right now, there's no freaking way it's going to take me a full 300 maps to get one to drop. Against the advice of my doctors and my lawyers, I'll be running another round of 50 maps. This video will cover runs 250 to 300. I'm not getting any younger, and I'm not getting any smarter either. But I am getting richer, just not in real life. And we're going to start off strong by dying horribly in this awful Warlord of Blood map. On the first map, I got some unique shark skin boots to drop. Since this is a bastard Warlord map, all items dropped will already spawn with a corruption on them. These were water walks, which pre-slammed with 5 all-res. This was a small upgrade, and it rolled exactly the same life as my current boots, so I'm wearing them now. Then it was time for me to fight the terrifying Ultra Death boss. He's guaranteed to drop a corrupted unique, and last time he dropped a Death's Fathom. This time, he ended up dropping a unique Slayer Guard. This was an Ariat's Face, slammed with 22% magic find. On map 5, a Treasure Fallen had threatened me with a high rune drop. He made good with this threat by dropping a Sir rune. I could have just stopped killing the poor Fallen, but what if he had another high rune? If someone has money, that means they have more money. Then on map 6, I dropped a unique shark skin belt. As an Amazon, I feel compelled by scary unknown forces to pick this item up. I blind slammed this into a razor tail with 10% increased attack speed. I pretty much have a full BZON set now except for a demon machine. So, why don't I go BZON? The answer is why indeed. Oh, and I randomly slammed these Trang gloves hoping for FCR, but I got faster block rate instead. Bastard. On Horizon's map, there are these ghost swords that have this weird sort of hitbox. It's only really noticeable when they block me on the stairs. I stood there, feeling like an idiot, and that's when an Ohm rune dropped. I may have failed the click to move tutorial, but I at least got something out of it. Oh no, a unique ring dropped. I dread these now because it's always a mantled ring. However, this little bastard ended up being a Stone of Jordan. Not bad. That's what I needed to see. Now it was time to horribly massacre it, and it ended up slamming into being a horribly massacred ring. I knew it was gonna happen. It had to happen at least one time. But my other 6 skill rings survived, so this didn't sting too badly. And then I got the Geed event later on. Geed has historically been a total bastard to me, but I always forgive him every time he pops up. I can confirm that his stash absolutely existed at one point in time. The first item ended up being a razor tail. Then it was time to slam it, and it slammed with +7 to energy, which is exactly what I get when I chug a monster coffee in real life. The next item was a Dragcool's Grasp, and this one would end up slamming with 3 mana per kill. All of this was in map 7, by the way. Then I ran, face first, into a pack of pure death, and I legitimately don't know how I'm not dead already. I really should have died like 20 times for this entire playthrough. But I did drop another unique ring on map 8. This one ended up being a Dwarf Star, and it got a pretty decent roll on the life. I went ahead and slammed it, and it landed with 3 life after kill. The game had no problem breaking that SRJ, but the Dwarf Star just has to get special treatment. Then on map 12, I ended up dropping a unique Hydra Bow. Even though I didn't really need this item, it was still really cool to see. This was a Windforce, and it rolled 338 on the enhanced damage. And then I slammed 27% magic find on it. It's as if I stapled an Istrin into it, which is exactly what I would do to a Windforce in real life. Then I ended up finding a unique tiara on the same map. This one was a Cura's Guardian, and I got some pretty decent rolls on the Ellie Pierce, man 30 all res. It ended up slamming for some poison res. And then the hillbilly version of the Butcher spawned on my map and dropped a bunch of Worldstone shards. But right after that, a unique jewel dropped. If this were day 2 of SSF, this map would have been the map. Oh wait, hang on, no ID scrolls. Okay, I got the ID scrolls. It ended up being a level up poison facet, and it rolled 5 trillion on the damage and negative 300 on the pierce. Also, look who decided to show up. Some unique matriarchal javelins ended up dropping, and they were ethereal. Naturally, these were Thunderstrokes, and they rolled +3 on the jab skills. That's the max, by the way. I don't know why they nerfed these, but it's okay. I have T-strokes now. and I viciously slammed it for +1 skills. Hell yeah. Now we're playing the video game. Except there's a problem. They fucking bricked, man. Absolute, just bastard of a video game. I need to call my doctor. On map 13, guess who showed up again? It was another unique matriarchal Javelin, but they weren't ethereal. These were T-strokes, and these were also +3s as well. I had another chance to slam for either +1 or lightning pierce. But how about a crushing blow slam instead? That sounds good to me. I was just minding my own business on map 14 when a unique Shako suddenly dropped. Since I bricked like 4 of these, I've become numb to the sting of bricking Shakos, so I blind slammed it, and it survived. But not only did it survive, it ended up slamming with plus skills. It was my very first +3 Shako. I've never had a +3 Shako ever, not during any season. I never thought I'd get one in HCSSF. I would end up puzzleboxing this at the end of the video. The result won't surprise you in the slightest, let's be real. I electrocuted several innocent demons on map 15, which got a unique vortex shield to drop. I would also blind slam this item into a Sky Warden with cannot be frozen. It did roll only +1 on the paladin skills, but I'd still use it for some reason or another. And then I tricked the game into dropping another unique jewel. My fingers were crossed for a lightning facet, but it was a poison facet instead. The video game was now bullying me, trying to get me to change out of my meme lightning build, but I wasn't having it. And besides, I've already done poison Javelin, and it was pretty good. Map 17 gave me a unique mesh armor. Always a pleasure to see on hardcore. This one ended up being a 26 DR shaft stop. This armor makes you never die ever. You will never die when you wear this armor. I tried slamming it for +1 skills, but it ended up dying, which is the complete opposite of what I wanted. The same map gave me another unique tiara. I really have to wonder where all these unique tiaras were when I was farming hell cows. It was another Kira's, 25 auras, and some decent rolls on the pierce. It ended up slamming with +5 max cold res, along with some additional cold res as well. And then map 19 gave me yet another Shako. I don't know what's happening with my RNG. I'm only running a Geats charm for Magic Find, but the Shako was here, and it ID'd into a Shako with 4% DR and 48 Magic Find. I need to start giving these away. It slammed for a singular socket. And then I got a unique jewel to drop on the same map. Lightning facet. I need a lightning facet. Give me a lightning facet. No, game, that's a fire facet. I need a lightning facet. It actually wasn't a terrible fire facet though, -4 +5. Later on, I burned the entirety of my perfect gem reserves on rerolling charms, and I managed to land a Java skiller with 12 FHR. These are such a bastard to get on SSF. I only have one other FHR skiller, and it's a Warcry skiller that I found like 3 months ago. But man, it's really satisfying landing the exact roll you need. Good charms are definitely some of the hardest items to find. Map 20 casually dropped a very nice unique Caduceus. I disagree with my loot filter, by the way. That should definitely scream pickup because it's such a rare item and it's a cool item. This was an Astrion's, and if I'm not mistaken, this is the second rarest item in the game next to Tyrael's Might. I couldn't use it on the Amazon, but the drop felt very meaningful for me. And then I instantaneously bricked it in the evil satanic cube. Gone. Just like that. Goodbye forever. Good luck finding another one, me. The same map also gave me a Barb Combat Scaler with +40 life. I recently learned that these scalers are actually useful, mainly for bosses as I understand it. I probably won't be doing tier 2 Rothman this season, but I might if I find 7 more of these. And then the impossible happened on map 21. A map boss ended up dropping a decent unique item, which was a winged harpoon. This elongated bastard was a Gargoyle's Bite, +3 to poison skills and -11 on the poison res. This is the weapon of choice for Plague Javazons until they can craft better ones. It slammed for some attack rating. Quick Istern drop for map 25, and no, the boss didn't drop anything. But I also got a unique tier 3 map to drop. This was good old Imperial Palace, the one that guarantees a puzzle box. Perfect for that +3 Shako. Speaking of Shako, a Shako ended up dropping on map 26. The Shako was blind slammed into a Shako with 1 socket. Not as cool as +1 skills, but it sure does exist. Then I started the boss fight, and it turns out this boss is completely terrifying even with max res and max DR. He made me burn all my rejuves, and then I had to leave the game just for the sake of convenience. It definitely was not because I panicked or anything. My brain would never panic in a near-death situation like that. Then I did the walk back, and the walk back made me realize how big this fucking map actually was. This map is gigantic. But I killed him, and I got the puzzle box. The puzzle box of good luck and good fortune. That boss is worse than Warlord of Blood, like what the hell? On lucky map number 29, I got a unique Grim Helm to drop. And you already know what this item is. This was a Vampire Gaze, and it rolled 22% on the DR. Not bad. But the craziest thing of all was that I actually remembered to up it into a Bone Visage before slamming it. I was insanely proud of myself. Now I can slam it for 3 sockets. Who's ready for a hype 3-socketed V-Gaze, and it bricked? Well, that happened. Then I got a Vex rune from the very first thing I killed on map 30. The same map also gave me a unique Wire Fleece. I needed this armor to slam with 3 sockets so I won't completely fall over during the Rothma fight. I blind slammed it into a G-Bane corrupted with 30% light res. I would have felt better if this armor was 30% sockets instead. Then on map 31, I got a unique tier 3 map to drop, which filled me with a sense of dread because I didn't want to do Imperial Palace again. Thankfully, it was Azar's Sanctum, the one that drops a guaranteed skiller charm. The only downside to this map is that it's going to take me like an hour to pick up and ID all the charms that are dropped in this map. Then I got around to doing Zar's Sanctum for map 34, and I spent most of my time being cursed and assaulted by several Might Aura packs. A unique Ghost Spear ended up dropping, which is an item I find interesting. The spooky Ghost Spear was an Odyssean's Awakening, a weapon with a lot of potential if I can land 6 sockets on it. I maliciously slammed it in the Evil Satan box, and it landed with 5 sockets. It wasn't perfect, but I am deranged enough to possibly work with an item like this. But that would have to wait for another time because I was too busy identifying 2,000 charms that gave no relevant stats. Also, a unique Vampire Fang belt dropped after I committed several more acts of violence. I blind slammed this into a Nosferatu's Coil with 11% cold res. I'm just glad it didn't brick, because I bricked like 5 of these and I'm not even joking about that. Then I got in an altercation with an unmedicated wizard. I employed my usual strategy of killing him before he kills me, which worked out great for me in the end. He dropped a blue Grand Charmed. This was the guaranteed skiller. And it would end up being a lightning skiller with plus 15 life. At least it's not curses or defensive Rs this time. Then I got the Catalyst Shard event for map 35. It spawns a mob who's the biggest bastard you could imagine, unless you stop him from infinitely cloning himself. He would end up dropping a unique Shillelagh, but I preferred to pronounce it Shillelagh. This Shillelagh was a Brimstone Rain that rolled plus 4 skills and 95 life, and it also rolled 69 fire res, which is definitely a number. It would end up slamming for 30 IAS and 28 crushing blow on absolutely the wrongest item ever. Oh, and I got 3 shards to drop from the altar. I like that a lot because I usually get 2, 9 out of 10 times. Now I just need to actually remember to use them. Then the video game gave me a nice little Mal rune. Later on, I took down the boss and he dropped a unique demon head. I was feeling very lucky, so I blind slammed it, and it generously landed a 3-socket slam on a completely bricked rare. Absolute bastard. Map 36 was a 1 million density Throne of Insanity where I was constantly in fear of my life. A unique Shadow Plate ended up dropping here. This was a good old steel carapace, and it rolled plus 2 on the skills. Then it was time for me to brick it in the Satan box, however, it would end up landing with 3 sockets. It happened again on map 39, where I would drop a high rune at the very beginning of the map. This time, it was an Ohm rune. Thank you, River of Blood map. Also, I'm glad you're not a terrifying tier 3 map anymore. And then I found a unique ring on the same map. My ring RNG has been pretty good lately, so I was feeling good about this. It ended up being a mantled heal ring. It wasn't the ring I wanted, but it was the ring I deserved. Then I slammed it, because you're supposed to slam everything in this game, and it got 3 mana per kill. That is an outstanding slam on any ring, but it went straight to the ground. And then map 40 gave me a unique amulet. My amulet RNG had been pretty bad lately, but I was still feeling lucky. So lucky that I thought I would blind slam it. The result was shocking. It ended up being a Nokazan that slammed with 15% cold res. Okay, fine, it wasn't that shocking, but still. What was shocking, however, was this unique jewel that dropped in the same map. It ended up being a fire facet, -4 and +5, and it also makes me want to die so I can cast that level 31 meteor. Then I fought some angry man cows on the other side of a fence, which made it really hard to get their loot. Naturally, a unique amulet dropped right out of my reach. And if these cows weren't being spiteful enough, they also dropped a cham rune. Thankfully, I was able to get the cham rune just fine. I already used my Zods and chams to make Innocence and Ferocity, so now I had this extra cham rune to make the really fun rune words. Also, despite having absolutely no blind slamming luck whatsoever, I was still feeling pretty lucky. I blind slammed the amulet, and it ID'd into an Eye of Etlich with +2 skills. Then I found yet another unique Hydra Bow on map 42. I had the brilliant idea of blind slamming it, and it ID'd into a Windforce with a perfect 350% ED. However, it slammed with 3 mana per kill. And then I found a rare diadem, which hurt my soul and gave me anxiety. If only I ran a 40% Geeds instead of a 39%, that would have been the Griffons. Then I found a unique Grand Matron bow on map 46. I had absolutely completely forgotten that unique GMBs were a thing in this mod. But anyway, this was an Ebonbane, a bow that rolled +4 on passives and plus skills on a bunch of other skills. It's a bow made for summons-ons, because summons-ons are definitely absolutely not broken enough. I smashed some atoms into it and it slammed with 5 entire sockets. Map 50 gave me the Horizon event, and Horizon keeps autocorrecting into Horizon, and I absolutely do not appreciate it whatsoever. He opened a portal to the Ruined Cistern, which was a tier 3 map. Fun fact, the one and only time I've ever found a Griffons in this mod was in the Ruined Cistern. It was also ethereal, and I couldn't even trade it for a Malrune, but I took my chances here to see if I could finally get a Griffons. I ended up getting an Iskarune, which was good for a start, but was I able to finally land a Griffons? Absolutely not. I completed another round of 50 maps, and even though the drops were amazing once again, I'm still on the hunt for that Griffons. But what would a hunter be without the hunt? Well, I'd probably be married with children, but I'd rather puzzlebox this +3 Shako instead of starting a family. 1 socket? No, man, you're supposed to roll 2 sockets, game. Take your cham rune back and give me 2 sockets. Anyway, that's gonna do it for the video. Thank you all so much for joining me, and if you enjoyed what you saw, do consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. The support that's been shown is amazing as always. I will see you all on the next one. Take care and stay safe.